Education is an integral part of humanity, and everyone has the right to embrace it confidently. With access to education, success is within reach for every person. One of the ways to increase access to education is through multigrade teaching. What is it all about? Who are the people involved? Why is it important? Why is it being implemented? And what are its benefits? To better understand multigrade teaching, let's get learning! Multigrade teaching description.
Multigrade teaching is a situation in which one teacher has to teach many grades simultaneously. It happens in all schools where there are more grades than teachers. Some multigrade teachers may teach 2 grades, but some teach 3 or 4. In very small schools, most especially in rural area, teachers may teach 6 or 7 grades at the same time under one roof. Other terms for multigrade teaching include split class teaching, mixed age teaching, double grade teaching, multi-level class teaching, multi-program, composite classes, vertical stream classes, and integrated class teaching.
Multigrade teaching trivia.
Do you know that multigrade education is one of the Department of Education strategies to provide access to quality education for all school-age children in remote communities, where enrollment does not warrant the organizations of monograde classes? The Department of Education, the DepEd, continues to hold multigrade classes in an effort to ensure that Filipino students in remote areas complete their basic education.
Multigrade teaching importance.
But before anything else, let me just have a quick review of multigrade program in the Philippines. Since 1993, the multigrade program in Philippine Education, or MPPE, has significantly contributed to the Department of Education's, or DepEd, that need to democratize access to education while ensuring its quality in around 19% of public elementary schools in isolated, underserved, and sparsely populated communities in the Philippines. So multigrade education is important in the field of teaching because it provides access to quality education for all school-age children in remote communities where enrollment does not warrant the organization of monograde classes. Here is the advantage of multigrade teaching. First is student performance. Student performance is advantage of multigrade teaching because students can develop healthier social relationships, positive attitude, and enhanced leadership, organization, listening, sharing, and many other important skills. Next is easy to use. Easy to use is an advantage of multigrade teaching because teacher can create effective syllabus and curriculums plans for students. Next is it improves learning. Problem solving, higher level thinking, and learning methods develop at an earlier point with the multigrade classrooms, simply because of the immersion experience that brings students together. Student-teacher relationship. A single teacher or the group of teachers responsible for the multigrade classroom typically stays with the same students until they graduate to the next level. This garners the opportunity for students to work with the same teachers for several years instead of having to meet new teachers at the beginning of each new school year.
Multigrade teaching factors.
4 factors contribute to the establishment of multigrade teaching. These are the geographical, political, cultural, and socio-economic factors. First, geographical factors. When we say geographical, it means an area or place of a specific region. Some areas are geographically isolated by rivers, sand dunes, or thick forest. People actually live in this area. They had to cross the rivers, sand dunes, and thick forests to go home. As a result, only a few people live in these areas. For example, the mountainous villages of Lisuito. This village is far away from a large school. The children living in this area deserve an education just like other children. Most students are too young to travel to larger school, and the population is not enough to support monograde schools. Therefore, under such conditions, multigrade teaching becomes the only available choice for these communities, and an alternative to making it possible to provide primary education to sparsely populated communities. The second is political factors. The majority of small multigrade schools are in remote and isolated areas and sometimes close to the country boundaries. Remote areas, transport is inaccessible or far away from larger cities. Despite that, students are close to the country boundaries, the learners are not allowed to cross the border. Different villages also have different chiefs or are associated with different tribes. Leaders in this area will push to have schools in their areas regardless of the population size because they are not allowed to go to another place with boundaries between them.
The third is cultural factors. Cultural factors are defined as a system of shared beliefs, values, customs, behaviors, and artifacts that members of society use to cope with their world and with one another, and that are passed down from generation to generation through learning. For these reasons, parents may not want their children to attend a school in an area that has a different culture. They may be concerned that their children will be influenced and will lose some of the values and traditions of their community. Parents may also be concerned that their children will be attracted to the town and live. Include 4 levels of cultures, including societal culture, community culture, school culture, and classroom culture. And the fourth is socio-economic factors. Some countries have limited resources, particularly in rural schools. They lack the resources to hire the system's required number of teachers. Some rural schools lack basic necessities like teacher housing, a sufficient number of classrooms, and teaching learning materials. Lack of human and material resources. As a result, socio-economic factors influencing education, such as family income level, parents' level of education, race and gender, all influence the quality and availability of education, as well as education's ability to improve life circumstances.
Multigrade teaching benefits.
Children who remain with the same teacher and primarily the same class for multiple years enjoy a stable and reliable environment. The mix of ages and abilities provides many opportunities for students to collaborate and learn from each other. Older children can take on more mature roles mentoring on the younger students.
There is no limit to content taught or discussed, so younger students learn along with older students. Grouping students like a family, which is the oldest, most successful learning model, benefits students of all ages educationally and socially. Family group classrooms are particularly beneficial to gifted learners, struggling learners, and late bloomers.
Reduce competition and off-task behavior, academic, physical, and social competition between peers is reduced, as in the anxiety and preoccupation of having to compete and compare oneself to their peers. Consequently, discipline measures are needed less frequently, celebrating individual differences. The learning and social atmosphere are cooperative rather than competitive. Students receive more intentional training to be independent workers and leaders and to work as a team. off-task behaviors diminish as self-discipline and onus increase.
Reteaching and pre-teaching. Students are continuously exposed to reteaching as they listen in and benefit from lessons given to younger students. This review of the basics reinforces and clarifies a child's understanding, even when they may be working at a more advanced level. Students are also exposed to pre-teaching, eavesdropping on teachers' lesson, and discussions with older students. It both prepares and stimulates the younger child's thinking and reduces pressures associated with moving on to higher grades. Role modeling and mentorship. The teacher plays a crucial role in modeling and intentionally teaching these skills. But many models are available for younger students in a multigrade classroom. Older students model pro-social behaviors and expectations. They have opportunities to help younger students learn genuinely. Their teaching helps them clarify their own learning. The cognitive development and self-esteem of both younger and older students are improved. Strong teacher-student relationship. Lengthier time with the same teacher can increase trust, understanding of expectations, and positive relationships between teacher and students, as well as teacher and parents. Teachers continue to build upon the relationship of each child's interests, strengths, and needs over multiple years they teach a child. The stability of having the same teacher for several years can increase a student's emotional security and trust in adults. Lastly, increased learning time. Students and teachers can pick up where they left off rather than starting fresh with new routines and expectations. Effective learning time in the first term increases when children return to the same teacher in the next school year.
Multigrade teaching, like traditional teaching, seeks to provide equal access to education for children in all locations. After grasping the essence of multigrade teaching, are you ready to take on the opportunity to experience educating in this academic setting?